So where I'm standing here is actually in a glass door. I know it doesn't look like I'm standing in a glass door, but I am. So here's the deal. The glass doors obviously aren't in yet. This whole space here, which is, I don't know, what, 8 meters, is going to become one massive sliding glass door. But where I'm actually standing right here used to be a brick structure. So these two spaces, it used to be sliding doors there, and this was a brick structure. Now I wanted to create one massive continuous door so that you didn't break the view, because where I'm standing looks straight out at the ocean. However, again, it's a structural issue. The DA said I could do it, but just because the DA says you can do it doesn't mean the building can handle it. So again, what did I have to do? I got my structural engineer out. He comes in, he looks at the weight of the building, he looks at the structure of the windows, and he decides whether or not it's going to be able to handle not having this structure here. I actually thought, and my builder thought, in fact, when my builder came out, before I bought the property, and I told him what I intended on doing, I said, well, I want to knock that down. I wanted to knock every wall down. I just wanted glass everywhere. But he said, well, you're going to have a beam there. It's going to have to be a steel beam. It's going to cost about 30 grand to frame this up so you can get rid of that structure here. And I thought, okay, fine, and I included that in my feasibility. Would you believe when I actually started building, the structural engineer came out and said, no, you don't need this here. You can take it away and you don't need to replace it with any kind of structural pole or anything here. Because what we did do was put a structural beam, or a new structural beam steel, all the way through there. So above me, there's a huge steel beam. You can see it's that reddish coloured beam that covers all the distance across. It's holding the weight of the floor above, and it's going to be enough of a frame to have this as a glass window. So I actually there saved myself about $30,000. So while on construction you may end up having to spend in some areas, I just picked up 30 grand here, which helped me cover my underpinning, my waterproofing, and I've still got a little bit for the other issues that I know we're going to run into. So come over here, I want to tell you about the brick wall that almost fell down. Come on. One of the things you need to check when you do take on an existing building is the structure of the existing bricks. So while you can look at it and think, oh yeah, that's fantastic, there's bricks, and we can use those, we're going to keep those walls in place. It's not just about whether you want to keep the walls in place, it's whether they have a structure to be able to be kept in place. I had a builder come out to site, and he, as I said, a building inspector came out and said that there was no issue with the walls. What happened was when we started putting battens on the walls to be able to put our gyprock against, we actually found the walls, as we were drilling into the bricks, were popping out. They were moving. Why? Because this mortar, all of this mortar in between the bricks, you got to remember, I'm in a seaside location. That's had sea and salt and air hitting it for about 50 years. And it looked intact, but it was actually all crumbling. And as you gave it any kind of pressure, it just moved away. And there was one whole section of the house across 2 stories. So, 60, 70 square meters worth of brick that had to be completely redone, but they had to be taken out bit by bit and redone bit by bit, so that because they were actually holding up one whole side of the house. So check if you're at a seaside location or if you've got a really old property, is the current brick frame actually going to hold? And ask your building inspectors to specifically look at the masonry, the mortar, the stability of any rock or brickwork to see it looks okay, but is it actually holding okay? Because in this house, that ended up costing about an extra $25,000 to recreate that whole wall. And we want it, again, we're recreating a house that's going to look brand new. You don't want a wall that's about to fall down in a brand new house. Now come upstairs, I want to show you the stair area and what we had to change there. I'm now standing in a steel structure of stairs, or what used to be a steel structure of stairs. So there used to be stairs coming up here, fugly stairs if ever I saw them, coming right up here and then up again. So now we got rid of those. I knew that was going to happen the second I saw them. And I wanted to have a stair frame that was more not fugly. So here's what we did. We got rid of these stairs, we got the DA to create these new stairs coming up here and up here again. So what happened is, there's this now where I'm standing is brickwork. This is all solid brickwork, and what we thought was going to be sand, rock, maybe some heavy concrete structures. And we don't know what it is, because before we buy the property, they're not going to let us start taking it down to see what's in there. Like, you can't destroy the property until you own it. So we bought it, started knocking this down. Would you believe we knocked this wall down and bricks just come tumbling down all the way from way up here, just tumbling down. This was just a mass of brickwork, all tumbled down. But what it also made us realise, because it also tumbled down all from within here and the other side of this wall. Now, in my original plan, this was just going to be some stairs. But what happened was this all tumbled down and created this whole new space. It was perfect. We still had the space for our stairs, but we also had what we thought was going to just be rock and was going to be a structural space. It was actually now a cavity that we could use. And so we ended up having another room for the house. Let me show you what we turned this room into. Come through. So this is the cavity that we created and turned into a room because we didn't think we were going to have the space, but now we've got the space. Now this wall is what is holding back, or retaining, if you will, the rest of the dirt under the house. But that was enough to be able to allow all this space. So what does this space become? This space becomes a downstairs bathroom. So this whole downstairs area is your living, your dining, your kitchen area. There needs to be a bathroom down here so people don't need to go upstairs to use that bathroom, because upstairs is your personal bedrooms and your personal spaces. So we were able to create a fantastic space which becomes a feature bathroom, which isn't too tight. It's hidden away from the other areas, and we've used some space, which also meant I freed up the original space where we were going to have the downstairs bathroom. And I tell you, it was such a problem with this downstairs bathroom. We couldn't work out where to put it, how it was going to be. And we had a space for it, but we just felt like it doesn't belong there. So when we got this space, it was like, brilliant, chuck it there, put the other space into another use, which I'll show you in a second. Now, changes like this, you need to get a variation approved. So it called different things throughout Australia, maybe a Section 96, whatever the name it is for that council, it basically means a variation. This wasn't on the original DA, and so I've changed it. I need to get that approved by council so I can change the use. I don't have to do a whole new DA because, I mean, it's just an extra bathroom. If it's substantially the same DA, you won't have to go do a whole new variation.